Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Now when it comes to the Harry Potter franchise and its prequel series, Fantastic Beasts, I've been a fan of it for quite a while. J.K. Rowling has always been a very excellent writer, and she's actually writing the screenplay for this film. Now, when it comes to the first Fantastic Beasts film, I do feel like the plot was setting too many things up for future sequels, and the characters weren't as appealing as the original ones in Harry Potter, but I still found entertainment value with its visual effects, great action scenes, interesting comedic banter, and how the story did have its stellar moments. Crimes of Grindelwald fixes some of the issues of the original while also causing more problems for stuff that was already an issue. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is that Grindelwald, played by Johnny Depp, is planning to have pure-blooded wizards and witches take over the world of the Muggles and the No-Mages, and he plans to use a disturbed young man named Credence, played by Ezra Miller, to do that. So it's up to Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne, Tina, and all the other heroes that we remember from the original to basically stop him from doing so. Now, that's a very oversimplified version of the plot, because one of my biggest criticisms with the film is the fact that there are so many subplots and so many other characters introduced into it that it feels like the story gets needlessly complicated, even for people who've already read the book. I mean, I could get through the story okay, but that's because I was paying attention to nearly every single detail throughout the film. I know other people would be very, very confused when they were trying to find out which things are important and which things aren't. It just feels like it's a film that should have taken a rewrite, even if it was made by J.K. Rowling. Another criticism is the fact that even more things are not important in this film, but they're obviously going to be important in the sequels. For example, there are even fewer action scenes in this film, as most of the movie revolves around the characters talking and the characters going to different locations. Now, that's not to say that there isn't any excitement to be had, but a lot of the film is spent with dialogue, which would be fine if certain scenes didn't feel like they could easily be cut and then nothing would be lost. The film's over 2 hours long, and in my opinion, about 20 minutes of the film could have been slashed entirely, and we would have gotten a much better movie. But with that being said, what are the things I do like? Well, Eddie Redmayne, in my opinion, was a lot more charming in this film than he was in the original. Probably because I think he was written better. He has a more whimsical connection with the animals that he has, and I think Eddie Redmayne is just an actor who's able to infuse charm into a lot of his characters. Kowalski is still funny. I find his comic relief to be really refreshing in these films. Tina and Queenie are, again, not exactly on Hermione Granger levels of great characters, but they do their jobs okay. And also the new characters that they introduce throughout the film, such as Zoe Kravitz as Lestrange, they do fill in their roles well, and they happen to do a good job with what they're given. I don't think Ezra Miller as Credence is too interesting, but maybe that's just because they don't give Credence much to do other than to look sad and moody most of the time. But of course, the biggest ones that I have to give praise to are, of course, Grindelwald, played by Johnny Depp, and Dumbledore, played by Jude Law. Even though we don't get nearly enough of Dumbledore, the few bits that we do get of him let us know that Jude Law was practically perfect casting. He really does feel like a young Dumbledore. I don't see a guy playing a role, I just see what Dumbledore was like as a young adult. And Grindelwald seems like he just leaps off the pages when Johnny Depp plays him. He's been out of the limelight for a while, and I think this could be the role that brings him back. I just wish there was a better movie to give him in this regard. Now, the effects of the film are very flashy, and they obviously show a lot of thought to J.K. Rowling's imagination, but it feels like there aren't a lot of interesting scenarios to put them in until the finale. Which I will say the finale is well done. It's exciting, and it definitely has a creative climax when it comes to its action and when it comes to how it resolves all the plot threads. But if this was a movie with a more structured story and a lot more interesting moments, I would have appreciated it a lot more. Still, as a Harry Potter film, I would consider this one of the weaker films in the series, but not a total disaster either. So I give The Crimes of Grindelwald a 6.5 out of 10. See you next time.